America, welcome to the Glenn Beck program. This week, got to roll up your sleeves because we're going to do some work. Americans have been saying for a long time, they just want to know the truth. They just want to know the truth, even if it's hard, and they're willing to do it. Well, okay. All right. Today, we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to tell you the truth, and all this week, we're going to show you how to slash the budget. But I warn you, I'm not going to have any friends left. There ain't anybody that's not going to be hacked off at me, because when you see what we have to do, not to thrive, but to survive, Americans might change their tune. We'll see how you'll react. It's time to introduce you to the plan. Come on, let's go. Hello, America. It is a working week. We're going to we'll keep you informed with what's going on in the news, but we have some amazing guests that are coming on this week that have been working with me on slashing the budget. It's an idea that I want to lay out for you tonight. And then please tell your friends, watch all this week, because somebody's got to tell you the truth. Somebody has to show you what's coming in the future. I saw, right before I went on the air, I looked at the Drudge Report. And can you bring this up, Tiffany, please? They're on the Drudge Report here. I have not read the story. I haven't had time to read it. I'm just going with the headline. And this absolutely sounds like John Holdren. Obama science czar tells students we can't be number one indefinitely. The servers have crashed. You can't even get to that story. So I can't verify this, but Drudge usually has it right. And that sounds like John Holdren, our science czar, who is a guy that wants to redistribute all of our wealth in America, not only between rich and poor here, but globally, to take our wealth and give it to other countries. And that's what's happening. Now, everybody in the news business, I don't know why honestly, America, I don't know why we're still listening to these people. They missed the housing crisis that was coming. But they're now telling us that everything is fine. Everybody in the White House is saying, oh, nothing to worry about. The worst is behind us. Watch this.
We can stand here today and say we prevented another depression. We broke the back of the recession. The economy that was shrinking by 6% a year ago is now growing by 6%. So the worst of the storm has passed.
You're in the eye of the hurricane, my friend. Obama's multi-trillion-dollar health care plan has passed. The jobs should start pouring in at any time. The New York Times is also giddy about the economy. They ran this headline last week, and this amazed me. Why so glum? Numbers point to a recovery. Really? Has the New York Times even looked around their own newsroom? It's practically empty. They just announced another 100 layoffs in the newsroom, which, brings that total to what, New York Times? Probably explains why we're getting articles about how great the economy is, because I think Jim from maintenance may have already taken over the business section at the Times. They also slashed salaries by 5%. Why so glum, New York Times? They've got former New York Times writers who are actually living now on the street. You should read the story about this guy. It's amazing. He's a panhandler now. Used to work for the Times. Then the New York Times also built a giant skyscraper here in New York. Oh, this is going to work out well for you. Yeah. 2 words, New York Times. Government takeover. Every important economic indicator that if anybody is serious, not if you'll question with boldness and you just want the truth, it will show you that tough times are ahead. And it is becoming apparent that something more than just growth will be needed to restore America and stop the bleeding. This is what we're being told right now. Transform. Transform. We've got, quoting the president, fundamental transformation. Into what? Into what? When you voted for change, did anyone bother to ask change into what? Transform into what? I'm not married to these guys because, oh, they're on our money. I'm married to these guys because they were right. These guys were right. And until somebody else comes up with a better plan, I say we stick with these guys. Let me rephrase that. I say we stick with these guys until somebody tells us what we're transforming into. The leading economists now say the slump is going to be around for at least 2 more years. Moody's says that we're walking a tightrope and that preserving debt affordability at levels consistent with AAA ratings will invariably require fiscal adjustments of a magnitude that in some cases will test social cohesion. What does that mean? That's an incredible statement. They also added the severity of the crisis. The severity of the crisis will force governments to make painful choices that will expose weaknesses in society. Basically what they're saying to the New York Times, why so glum? They're saying that we'll start to eat each other. There's going to be a little civil unrest. That's Moody's. Maybe we should get them a subscription to the New York Times. Former Congressional Budget Office head Doug Elmendorf said the nation's fiscal path is simply, quoting, unsustainable. You know this and I know this. Last week, Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke said this. Watch.
To avoid large and unsustainable budget deficits, the nation will ultimately have to choose among higher taxes, modifications to entitlement programs such as Social Security and Medicare, less spending on everything else from education to defense, or some combination of the above. But unless we as a nation demonstrate a strong commitment to fiscal responsibility, in the longer run we will have neither financial stability nor economic growth.
Got it? We weren't going to have any stability in anything. Here's the chairman of the Fed bracing Americans that you're about to face drastic changes or else. So what is Congress doing about it? Nothing. Nothing. Now, normally Congress doing nothing is a good thing. I celebrate. But they're screwing us up by not undoing the stuff they screwed us up with. They need to undo the damage they've inflicted on America. But where are the leaders there? Boy, I talked to Paul Ryan today. Thank God for Paul Ryan. First time I met that guy, he makes some sense. But most of the clowns in Washington, they jam health care through. They hope for the best on the economy. I don't think most of them even understand the economy. They're actually set now to miss the April 15th deadline for completing next year's budget. They're not even considering a draft of it. They're skipping putting together a budget. They could put this together. They got this bill. They put this one together. Yeah, they can do that. But not next year's budget. Why? Because they'll be able to avoid unpopular votes around election time. That's how stupid they think we are. Hey, if we just don't do a tax hike right around election time, we can do it later and nobody will remember. America, this isn't about elections. I don't care who's in Washington. Do they have some sanity? It's time to make a choice. And you have to choose. You have to choose who is right. Are they right? The worst is behind us? Is the New York Times right? Why so glum? Are the leading economists, Moody's, the former CBO directors, chairman of the Fed, Ben Bernanke, they now tell us we're in trouble, but weren't these the clowns who told us there's nothing on the horizon before? They're the same people that told us the housing mess, we're fine. Are they right? Or is your gut right? Look, if this was your house, if this was your budget, if this is the way you ran things in your house, you'd know it's only a matter of time before they come and take everything you got. Something has to be done. Even our own politicians will now admit that they're incapable of doing anything. Here's Congressman Tom Piarello. Watch this.
The only way to keep them out of the cookie jar is to give them no choice, which is why, whether it's balanced budget acts or pay-as-you-go legislation or any of that, is the only thing. If you don't tie our hands, we will keep stealing.
We'll keep stealing, and that's what they're doing. The last thing that happens in any country before it goes away, they steal, they loot the treasury. They're stealing. Now, I want you to know, this is not an American problem. And see, That's what keeps us yelling about politics. We think this is an American problem. It's not. This is a global problem. What people won't tell you is it's all about to come undone. And we can get healthy. We can. We just have to have common sense and a spine. You see, all countries all over the globe have been stealing from the cookie jar. All countries have decided that massive debt that you cannot pay back is just no big deal. We've all pursued bigger government, socialization programs. We've all been shipping our jobs to India and China and think we can just always go this way. We can't.